Hello and welcome to this basic introductory video to biology. We're going to learn about the themes of biology and the scientific method. Biology helps us understand a major part of the world we live in. It explains everything from growth, that is, how a plant can grow from a tiny seed into a big tree, to nutrition, which explains why some animals eat grass and others eat meat, and how plants can produce their own food using sunlight. It helps us classify what is alive and what is not, and sometimes what is in between, like viruses, which have characteristics of both living and non living things. Also, biology helps us understand organisms of every size, from microscopic amoeba to tiny ants, and even up to elephants and whales. Scientists believe that the first form of life on Earth were microorganisms that existed for billions of years in the ocean before plants and animals appeared. So, the mammals, birds, and flowers that we see today are all relatively recent. The earliest representatives of the genus Homo, to which we belong, have inhabited the earth for only the last 2.5 million years, and only in the last 3,000 years have humans started looking like we do today. So, this means that biology not only answers questions of the present, it can also answer questions of the past and even the future. So, what is biology? Biology is the scientific study of living things or living organisms. The word biology comes from two Greek words, bios, meaning life, and logos, meaning study. So basically, biology means study of life or life study. Biology helps us understand living things, that is, how they grow, how they adapt, reproduce, and even evolve. From how your body digests food to how bees pollinate flowers, biology is everywhere. So, why is biology important to us? Why even bother studying biology? Biology is very important in our everyday lives, no matter the country you live in, all over the world. You can find biology in medicine, in agriculture, in geography, and even in you. So, biology helps you understand how your own body works. Why do you get hungry? How do you grow? And what the best food to eat to stay healthy and strong is. Now, I mentioned that biology is the scientific study of life. So, that means biology is a science. And biology uses one of the most important tools that all sciences rely on, and that is the scientific method. The scientific method is a step-by-step process that scientists use to explore observations, answer questions, and test ideas. The scientific method has 6 steps, starting from observation all the way to conclusion, and it helps us understand the step-by-step process of how laws and theories in sciences are made. The steps of the scientific method include number one, observation, which is recognizing and noticing facts or occurrences. Number two, question, which is asking a question about an observation. So it's basically asking why something has happened. Number three, hypothesis. A hypothesis is making a smart guess based on prior knowledge. Number four, we have experimentation, which is testing the hypothesis under controlled conditions. For five, we have analysis, which is reviewing the data and results. And then number six, we have conclusion, which is summarizing the finding. Let's look at an example that will help us better understand what the scientific method is. So meet Ada, a curious student from the village in Enugu. She noticed something odd. Her yam plants on one side of the garden grew big and healthy, but the ones on the other side did not. Instead of ignoring it, Ada observed carefully, asked questions, and made guesses. She planted more yams to test her theory, and in doing so, she applied the scientific method. Using the scientific method is basically how medicines are developed, how diseases are studied, and how farming techniques are improved. Biology is part of a larger group called natural sciences, and it plays both theoretical and practical roles. Biology falls under the two types of science that we have. So we have the basic science and the applied sciences. As a basic science, biology focuses on gaining knowledge for understanding. For example, studying how cells divide. As an applied science, biology uses the knowledge to solve problems. For example, using cell knowledge to develop cancer treatments. Biology also uses types of reasoning like inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. In inductive reasoning, we move from a specific example to a general conclusion. For example, all sick plants lack sunlight, therefore, sunlight is essential. And for deductive reasoning, that is starting from a general rule and applying it to a specific case. For example, all green plants need sunlight. So when we see a green plant, we assume it needs sunlight. Let's look at the main themes of biology. The main themes of biology include organization of life. That means all life is structured in levels, which start from an atom to a molecule to an organelle to a cell to tissue, organ, system, organization, population, community, ecosystem, and biosphere. Another theme of biology is energy flow, which tells us that living things need energy to survive. Plants use sunlight and animals eat food. Another theme is homeostasis, which means maintaining internal balance. Most organisms need to maintain a particular balance to survive, like body temperature or water balance. Another very important theme is growth and development. Living things grow and change. For example, a chick can turn into a chicken, an egg can turn into a chick, and so on. Another theme is reproduction, which means that life makes more life. Humans have babies and plants produce seeds. We also have evolution and adaptation, which means that life changes over time. So giraffes have long necks to reach tall trees. Well, you see, biology is very, very interesting. Let's look at the characteristics of living things. A simple way to remember all the characteristics of living things is to use the acronym Mr. NIGER D. Each letter represents a characteristic of living things. So the M represents movement, the R represents respiration, the N represents nutrition, the I represents irritability, the G represents growth, E represents excretion, R represents reproduction, and finally D represents death. Let's start from the top. Movement. All living things move. Animals move from place to place, and plants show movements by turning to face the sun as seen in sunflowers or roots growing down in the soil. Respiration. Respiration, remember, is not the same as breathing. Instead, respiration is the chemical process where living things break down food to release energy. And living things need energy to do anything. Nutrition. All living things need food for energy and growth. We call this nutrition. Plants make their own food while animals get food by eating plants or other animals. Irritability. Irritability can also be called sensitivity. And this is the ability to detect and respond to changes in the environment. For example, when you touch something hot, you quickly pull your hand away. That is irritability. Growth. All living things grow. A baby grows into an adult. A seed grows into a plant. This involves an increase in size and complexity of the organism. Excretion. Living things produce waste products from their body's activities, and getting rid of this waste is called excretion. For us as humans, this includes sweating and urinating. Reproduction. This is the ability to produce young ones of the same kind or species, and it's how life continues from one generation to the next. And finally, death. All living things eventually die and is a natural part of the life cycle. So, if something has all these characteristics, it is said to be a living thing. Since a stone cannot grow or reproduce, it is called a non living thing. And it is that simple. Unless in an example like viruses. Viruses have both living and non living thing characteristics. So sometimes it can act as a living thing and sometimes it can act as a non living thing. Let's look at the major branches of biology. Biology is divided into smaller parts that focus on specific life forms or systems. These are called the branches of biology. So the major branches of biology include botany, which is the study of plants, zoology, which is the study of animals, microbiology, which is the study of microscopic organisms, genetics, which is the study of heredity and DNA, anatomy, which is the study of body structure, physiology, which is the study of the body function, ecology, which is the study of organisms and their environment, cell biology, which is the study of cells, biochemistry, which is the study of chemical processes in living organisms. There are many other branches, but these are the major branches of biology. These branches often work together to solve complex biological problems. Let's look at a brief recap of what we've learned in this video. So we have learned that biology is the study of life and it uses the scientific method, which is observation, question, hypothesis, experiment, analysis, and conclusion. Biology can be a basic and an applied science, and it uses inductive and deductive reasoning. The themes in biology include growth, reproduction, energy use, and evolution. Living things have 7 properties, and biology has many important branches like botany, genetics, and ecology. So, biology is the foundation of life knowledge. So, whether you become a doctor, a farmer, a teacher, or a researcher, biology is your starting point. This is just the beginning. In our next lesson, we'll dive deeper into other key aspects we've mentioned in this video. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next class. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. So until next time.